Oh, testing. Great. We can start the video. Now, with all the definitions of GDP and GNP out of our way, I think we are ready to handle the first set of our past paper questions in your notes, right? So let's take our notes and go to the page 1 to page 5, starting with page 1 here. Okay, now obviously, like what we used to do, we're going to go through each and every questions in detail. So you have to put up with me if I'm being very, how should I put it, long-winded 係咪啊？Sir 好長氣啊，你明白係咪？Here the first question, not included in Hong Kong's GDP. Okay, let's see which one. Now the first one, profit earned by individual investor from buying and selling shares. Okay，你一見到 share 呢個字。Remember, the price and profits of shares and bonds, they are financial, not real production. Therefore, A does not count. GDP only counts real production value. OK，好嘛？第二個啦 ，bonus paid by stock exchange to its staff。記住啦，逢親見到 bonuses。Remember, when do you get bonus and commission? You get it after providing factor service. Therefore, there is production and to its staff, assuming these staffs are RPU, that is, right? We are assuming. 嗱係咁噶啦，會考啲題目係差啲噶啦。We are assuming they are RPU. So I think B should be the answer, but let's wait for a little bit. Okay, let's wait for a little bit. Okay, 好嘛？好啦，第三個啦 ，stamp duties levied on the shares bought and sold in a Hong Kong stock market. OK， 好嘛？嗱，所以呢條咧其實都有啲tricky 啊，好嘛？我哋見到啦 ，stamp duty 啊，唔係喎 ，not included 喎。OK， so this one. I think A should be the answer, right? Sorry, I made a mistake. A should be the answer because stock is not included. B is included, so not the answer we want. 好啦 C, stamp duties levied on shares, on shares, right? 嗱，小心啦，記住咯。In general, okay, in general, tax are not counted in GDP. OK， 收稅咧係冇 production 嘅 ，except one stamp duty。幾時俾印花稅？記住啦 ，stamp duty is a money you pay to the government for a service we call authentication service， 係證明呢件事係真係有發生過，俾政府抌個人 ，prove that it is real。Okay, therefore, the government is providing authentication service. When you see service, this is a production. So this one actually counts. 嗱，咁唔使講啦 ，Hong Kong government of course RPU, right？ 唔使解啦嚇，係咪啊 ？Commission 一樣道理啦。You receive commission when you provide factor service, okay, to the brokers for the transaction in Hong Kong stock market. So D also counts. The answer is A. A does not count in GDP. OK， 好嘛？好啦，你下一條啦。Next question. This time counts in GDP. 有乜嘢係 include 啦？今次唔係要交叉，今次要 tick 喎，好嘛 ？OK, here. The government grants received by university students 嗱，小心啲啦，好嘛？Now, when we talk about grants, here, let's use green. Grants. Basically, this is a gift from the government. They give you money, okay? Or technically, we call this transfer payment. 你唔使做任何嘢㗎。As long as you are poor enough, you get this grant, transfer payment. There is no production involved. OK， 好嘛 ？So this one does not count in GDP. OK， 好嘛？第二個啦 ，salary received by civil servant who is a foreigner working in Hong Kong. 嗱，呢個又踩界啦，係嘛？嗱 ，first of all, salary. OK, this one has production. 我哋知道啦，呢個已經係咪 has production? But a foreigner working in Hong Kong, there are two cases, okay? Two cases. Case number one, okay? Case number one, let's assume he has been working for more than 1 year or with a 1-year contract. Then, yes, it is counted. Case number two, let's say for only 6 months. Then, unfortunately, not RPU will not be counted. No information. 嗱，會考題目係咁㗎啦，好嘛？ So let's skip B first. Look at C and D. Interest to a loan paid by a firm to a bank in Japan. OK， 咩意思啦？ Interest. Remember, this is for loaning service. So there is production. But who provided the production? Japan. Bank in Japan. 咩意思啊？ This bank in Japan definitely not RPU of Hong Kong. 日本銀行肯定唔係香港 RPU 啦，好嘛？ So not in GDP of Hong Kong. And finally, loan repayment. 記住啦，我成日都話啦 ，loan the price the repayment there is no production or no real production. Therefore, D does not count. I think the answer they want is B, but again, 記住啦 CE questions, they should have stated very clear. In DSE, they should state very clearly whether it's for 1 year or less than a year. OK， 得唔得？會考題目係咁上下質素㗎啦，好嘛？好 ，another CE question not included 係唔計啊，好嘛 ？Government spending on employee retraining program. When you see training, this is a service. OK, therefore this is counted. OK， 好啦，第二個啦 ，unemployment benefit 記住啦 ，unemployment benefit falls into something we call transfer payment. OK, transfer payment that's not count in GDP. No production. OK, no production. 好啦 ，C commission 你逢親見到 commission 呢個字唔使問啦 ，there is production. OK， job searcher for job referral service 嗱佢俾埋 service 嚟啦。So this one counts in GDP. And finally, salary 即係計啦，係咪啊？To help job searchers, right? In Labour Department, Hong Kong RPU, right? Therefore, answer B. 所以記住啦，成日問自己 ，is it RPU? Is it RPU? Is it RPU? OK， 得唔得？好，跟住啦。Now, which of the following should be included？ 今次我哋要計啊，好嘛 ？In 你嘅我諗呢個應該 GDP， 佢寫gross national product，but I think this one should be domestic, right? Yes, I think domestic product。好嘛，打錯字，呢度應該打錯字啦。好啦 ，the value of newly issued share， 記住啊 ，the value of share does not count, no production, no real production. Value of shares transacted also not count. Okay, capital gain, if you remember, also not count, except stamp duty authentication service. So this one counts. Okay, should be in GDP. 對唔對 ？Okay, now. Next question. Which of the following 1 million amount is included in the calculation of Hong Kong's GDP? OK， 好啦，慢慢嚟啦。A famous singer hold 不如倒轉嚟睇 OK， 呢條有啲陰濕嘅係咪 ？An investor capital gain 嗱，應該要開始敏感啦。When you see capital gain, you should know this is not counted in GDP, not real production. Financial gain, not real production. OK， 好嘛，好第二個啦。A victim in a traffic accident receive from as compensation 賠償有冇 production 啊 ？No， you get injured, you get money, there is no production。唔通我受傷撞車都叫 production 咩？我即刻落街俾人撞。OK， it won't happen. I was joking. OK， 好嘛 ？OK， 嗱，所以 you see there is no production. What do we call this? We call this transfer payment. OK， 嗱 B， a father transfer 唔講啦 transfer. So answer should be A here. A famous singer holds a charity performance. 大家見到啦 performance this word, what does that mean? It means that there is a service 表演啊嘛，係咪？ There is a service, so there is production. 好嘛？in Hong Kong and donates all the proceeds to the victim of 嗱，小心啲，呢句其實出得好差㗎，好嘛？The performance this part is counted in GDP, but the later part donation， 大家唔知記唔記得啦 ？Donation does that count in GDP？No， 嗱，所以其實應該要分兩 part 㗎，呢條出得好差㗎 ，OK 係咪啊？The part that counts is the first part. Second part should not be counted in GDP. OK 嗱，都係嗰句啦。That's why I always ask you to not attempt the CE questions on your own. It is very dangerous. OK 好嘛？真係出得好差下㗎，好嘛？好 ，next question. Let's go to page 2 then. 呢個唔係 page 2，呢個先係 page 2。OK。Page 2 included in the GDP 又係要 include 啦，係咪 ？OK 好嘛？We Care Education Fund 嗱obviously the name is a little bit strange to you, but for our purpose, right? Losing their parents, does that sound like a production？ 會唔會有啲人話啊？我特登搞到我阿爸阿媽死咗先，我 production 緊啊？No no 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 no, it's not going to happen. OK。If you are thinking in this way, I suggest you should call Castle Peak 係時候打俾青山啊，有啲問題啊 ，OK 好嘛 ？So no production doesn't count. OK 好嘛 ？Money received by a property agent for service 係咪好好人啊？呢條係咪啊？Service obviously counted. Yes, this is in GDP. 好啦 ，local student from selling his used reference book 咧，阿 Sir。sell 嘢唔係有 service 啫，有 ，but this is used, so already counted。二手嘢嘅 price does not count，OK、好嘛 ？Money received by a local limited company from issuing new bonds，我唔解啦。大家見到 bonds 使唔使？仲使唔使解啊？係嘛 ？No need to explain, right? You see bonds. I'm not going to explain. OK， 好啦 ，next question. Which of the following item is included? Included 我哋要計啊，好嘛 ？The salary 係啦，記住啦 ，salary counts by an American who works for a local television as a reporter. Again, we have two cases in which not specified here. For more than 1 year, it counts RPU. If less than 1 year, does not count because not RPU. So let's skip A. 又係呢啲問題啦，係咪啊 ？B. Money received by a local student for selling his mobile phone. Now, I'm assuming if you sell a mobile phone, right, you're selling a second hand, right? So here, second hand value does not count. OK, double counting. 好嘛 ？Cash award. Award 即係咩意思啊 ？When you see award, basically there is no production. OK, no production from a game show. 佢抽獎抽中咗 ，no production. Insurance compensation. OK， 記住啊。Compensation. What do we call this? These are what we call transfer payment. Therefore, not counter. 嗱，不過你小心啲啊，唔係 insurance 唔計啊，記住啊。Here, the thing is insurance compensation does not count. What if I have a insurance premium? 我買保險嘅保費計唔計啊？係計㗎 ，because there is an insurance service. This is the money for insurance service. OK， 所以嘅保險費係計嘅，保險個賠償唔計啫。So I think they are inclined to say A is the answer. Stick with case 1. Let's say he works for more than a year. OK， 好嘛？好，下一條啦。Which of the following 5 millions amounts to is an investment expenditure of the national income accounting? Let's just call it GDP. OK, let's just call it GDP for our purpose. OK， 好嘛？Taking over a company by buying shares. 哎呀，我唔講啦，唉，唔講啦，唔解啦。OK, Part B, purchasing bonds. 唉，好煩啊。C, depositing money 擺錢入銀行有冇 production 啊？唉。 What a waste of time, right? So answer should be D, spending to turn a car park into a shop. This is a renovation service. 係咪啊？翻新嘅服務咪有 production 咯 ？Yes, this is going to count. Okay, now one more year of CE and hopefully we can move on to DSE. Actually, two more. Okay, 好啦 which of the following amount should be deducted? Deducted 我哋要係減翻去啊 to calculate GNP。記住啦，減啲乜嘢啊 ？This is what we call factor income paid to abroad， 我哋俾咗出外國嘅錢。Okay, factor income paid to abroad. So let's see which one. Rental income received by a mainland visitor from investor from his residential apartment in Hong Kong。好啦，即係邊度啊？而家邊個俾錢邊個啊 ？Hong Kong paying money to mainland from what? From a rental income. This is a production. 香港俾錢外國 ，OK 嗱 for the purpose of economics, OK 嗱 Hong Kong is always part of China, OK but from the purpose of economics economy 而家香港俾將啲錢俾出一個香港以外嘅經濟體系 ，OK so this one is exactly what we are going to deduct from GDP to calculate GNP. OK 嗱，望埋 BCD 啦，好嘛 ？Dividend received by Hong Kong resident from his investment in stock market。記住打 dividend, this is production 係有嘅。而家邊個俾錢邊個啊 ？Now US paying money to Hong Kong for production. This should be a positive item. Therefore, B is not deducted. It should be added. OK， 好啦，第三個啦 ，scholarship 需啲乜嘢啊 ？Remember scholarship no production。scholarship 使唔使有 production 攞㗎？唔使，總之你夠叻就俾錢你啦。This is what we call transfer payment, okay, or no production involved, okay. And finally, salary of a Hong Kong resident working in a branch of British Bank in Hong Kong， 而喺香港做嘢收到香港嘅錢，即係咩意思啊 ？Hong Kong paying money to Hong Kong for production. What do we call this? This is a GDP item. Native GDP. No need to calculate. Okay, 好嘛 So answer A here. 好啦 Next page. Page 3. Here. Now, which of the following amounts should be included in Hong Kong's GDP? 我哋係 GDP 啦，好嘛 ？Hong Kong's resident renminbi saving deposit 有冇production 啊 ？No production, so does not count. Okay, rental income received by Hong Kong resident from his property in Beijing. 嗱，小心啲啦，呢個啦。Now, a Hong Kong resident receives money from China. Okay, China paying money to Hong Kong resident for production. Okay, 有 production 噶噃 but did the production take place in Hong Kong? No, it happens in China. So unfortunately, this is not GDP of Hong Kong. 呢個唔係香港 GDP 嚟㗎 So unfortunately, not count. Donation 唔解啦 When you see donation, no production. So answer should be D, right? 係嘛？salary production. Who is working for Hong Kong Airline in Hong Kong? Let's assume, okay, for more than 1 year. So RPU, no problem. D. Okay, 好吧嗱 Japanese so Adam should be very happy now, right? Now finally we are into some DSE questions, okay? 好嘛嗱 which of the following would be included in the calculation for 2000? I think this one we have done it in our textbook already, right? 係咪我哋好似做咗啦 I remember the answer should be here, right? 係咪 should be C. 好啦嗱 Let's look at some short questions here. Okay, the financial secretary the scheme 6,000，當年派6000蚊啊，係咪啊？ Is a retired person. Okay, should this item be included in the GDP? Explain. The answer is no. Okay, but how do we explain? As there is no corresponding production behind this 6,000。呢6000蚊背後有冇 production 㗎 ？No, this is a transfer payment。捐6000蚊俾你㗎咋 ？You are not required to have any production. All you have to do is to be older than 18 years old. Okay, so there is no corresponding production. 記住呢啲字眼啊 ，no corresponding production. OK， 好嘛，好下一條啦。Suppose the sales revenue to Japan was 100 billion。而家啦，我話我賣咗100個 billion 嘅嘢。Give 2 reasons why the contribution to Japan's GDP would be less than this amount. This is a very important question. 佢話阿 Sir， 我明明賣咗100個 billion 嘢 ，why the contribution may be less than a billion? Now let's revisit 嗱，呢個咧題目唔使寫嘅。But let's revisit the definition of GDP. Remember, GDP is production by RPU in current year or in a given period of time. Now, obviously, selling is a production, right? So there are 2 clues. First clue, RPU. Second clue, current year. OK， 原來啦有2個原因啊。Reason number one， OK， reason number one， 我哋賣啲嘢 ，what if some of the raw materials， OK， some raw materials may be imported。阿 Sir 點解要 import？ 即係咩叫 import 啊 ？For our purpose, not made by RPU， 唔係 RPU 整嘅。Therefore, their values should not count towards the billion。OK， 咁咪少咗咯，即係唔應該計落去啊。Because they are not made by RPU。OK， imported goods 入口嘢即係唔係自己整啦，即係唔係 RPU 啦。OK， 好嘛 ？So this is the first clue. Second clue, some raw materials or some finished goods may be inventory from previous years。 有機會唔係今年嘅貨仔嚟㗎，係以前嘅貨仔嚟㗎。Which is not counted in the GDP in 2013。 以前嘅貨咪唔計咯 ，not current period， OK， inventory from previous years， OK， 得唔得？嗱 ，boys please recite these 2 reasons。無敵㗎呢2個理由 ，imported not by RPU and inventory from previous years, not current period. These 2 will always make GDP contribution less than it sounds like. OK， 唔該你背咗佢，無敵㗎呢兩個，好唔好 ？Now with that said, next page。好啦，now next page we are going to look at GNI, OK， 好嘛 ？Now in order to calculate the GNP, OK, which should be deducted 嗱，我哋要扣翻啊 deducted, OK？ 咦？呢條係咪我哋頭先啊？唔係啊，唔太似樣啫 ，OK？ 好嘛 ？deducted, so this one is a factor income paid to abroad， 係我哋俾錢人哋喎，好嘛？ Now first of all, dividend it counts, right？ 係咪啊？記住啦 ，production received from share in Hang Seng Bank by a Japanese person who live in the US。嗱，我哋唔好理佢究竟係 Japan 定 US 啦，好嘛 ？Let's not deal with them. The thing is now is Hong Kong paying money to US resident。我唔好，真係唔好探究佢究竟日本定係美國啦，好唔好啊？太多 scenario 啦 ，there can be too many scenarios. Okay, let's assume right to someone outside for production. Now what do we call this 係嘛？香港俾錢出面嘅人做 production. This is factor income paid to abroad. So this is a negative item. Should be deducted. OK， 好啦，第二個啦 ，rental income earned by Hong Kong resident from US， 即係咩意思啊？而家咪美國俾錢香港咯，係咪啊 ？For production, this should be a positive item. Unfortunately, not what we want. OK， 好嘛？第三個啦 ，salary earned by a native English teacher employed on a 2-year contract 咧，阿 Sir。做乜咁重要要講 2-year contract 啊 ？What does that mean? It means that this is RPU。而家 RPU 喺香港做嘢 ，and Hong Kong RPU working in Hong Kong earning money. What is this? This is a native GDP item. So no need to deduct or add anything. And finally, donation 唔解啦，好嘛 ？Donation transfer payment 唔解啦，解咗好多次啦，好嘛？好，which the following items should be included in the calculation of Hong Kong's net external factor 即係 NIA 啊 ？This one 嗱，既然你逢親啦 ，remember when you see net, it means both positive and negative figure are calculated. OK, the NIA 我哋望下邊啲啦，好嘛 ？Spending on of a Japanese tourist in Hong Kong 嗱，呢個要小心啲啊 ！Don't be tricked by it. Although now you see Japanese tourists, think about it. The money, who do they pay to? They pay to RPUs in Hong Kong. For example, they go to 大家樂Cafe de Coral, OK， 去大家樂咪 RPU 咯。Now what happens? The production happens in Hong Kong. 佢嚟香港食嘢 ，OK， 佢嚟香港食嘢 happens in Hong Kong. Who provided the service? A Hong Kong RPU. RPU in Hong Kong provides production in Hong Kong. 一個香港嘅 RPU 喺香港做 production。What do we call this? This is actually a native GDP item. Or later on, if we go to expenditure approach, you will see this is actually an export item. Export of service 嗱，呢個唔係交叉，呢個係 export 啊 ，export of service。Okay, so number one, not correct. 好，第二個啦 ，the revenue earned by Hong Kong watch manufacturer from selling watches to Europe. OK， 好嘛？嗱 ，again here 嗱，小心啲啦，佢又想 fit 你啦。Hong Kong watch manufacturer. This is a Hong Kong RPU. Selling the watches, OK， 佢賣啦。嗱 ，let's assume the European buyer come into Hong Kong to sell. Happening in Hong Kong. What is this? This is actually again native GDP item. This is an export of goods. 上面呢個係 export of service，兩個都係 export 嚟㗎。So no need to add or minus anything。好啦，第三個啦 ，rental income of a Hong Kong resident in UK。好啦，第三個發生咩事咧 ？This one UK paying money to Hong Kong people for a production that happened in UK. This is a positive item. 香港人收到錢，咁咪 factor income from abroad 咯。So yes. What about the next one? Interest received by a Hong Kong resident from the saving deposit in a bank in Switzerland 一樣啦。OK， 好嘛 ？Here, Switzerland paying money to a Hong Kong resident for providing lending service. 阿 Sir， 你係唔係啊？你唔係話 deposit 唔計嘅咩？係 deposit 唔計 ，but interest 計啊嘛。deposit 嚿錢唔計，但係 interest 計啊，得唔得 ？You basically lending money to the bank, so they thank you for your service, give you interest. OK， 咪一樣咯，係咪啊？你記唔記得？好似啫嘛。Basically the same as above. This is also counted. This is also a positive item. Answer D here. OK， 得唔得？嗱，所以呢個小心啲啊。This one， 嗱 ，don't worry. Now you may think it's a little bit confusing, but when we go to expenditure approach, we learn about export of goods and export of service. You will find this to be much easier than it is. OK， 好嘛，好啦，跟住啦 ，which of the following amount should be added to GDP in order to calculate GNP? You added now we need a positive item. OK, income earned by the Japanese singer who hold 2 concerts in Hong Kong. 喂，而家啦，呢個係咩啊 ？Hong Kong paying money to Japan. So this is a negative item. Okay, unfortunately, not what we want. Okay, salary of a Hong Kong resident who works for a Hong Kong office of an American bank. 嗱，小心啦。B, a Hong Kong bank 係嘛？a Hong Kong office of an American bank， 即係喺香係咪嘅？即係個 production 喺邊啊 ？Happens in Hong Kong, paying money to Hong Kong RPU. What is this? This is a native GDP item. OK， 好嘛？所以係唔需要計任何嘢㗎。This is native GDP. OK。C. Rental income received by a Hong Kong resident from his residential apartment in Canada. 即係而家啦，喺邊度發生啊 ？It happens in Canada. Rental income 係咪 ？We know rental is a production, right? Canada paying Hong Kong for production. This is a positive item. 呢個咪一個我哋嘅 positive item 咯。And finally, investment in a garment factory in Thailand. 而家倒轉啦，呢個係 this one is a Hong Kong paying money to Thai for production garment factory, right? This is a negative item, not what we want. OK， 又唔中啦，好冇？好，嗱 final page. Here, now, which of the following item is not included 啊？係嘛 ？In NFI， 即係 B here net both positive and negative counts， 即係今次又唔係 positive 又唔係 negative。Either it is a GDP or it is not GDP at all. OK， 好嘛？好。Income received by a Japanese teacher who worked in a language school for 1 year. 你一見到 1 year， 大佬 here this one you will see this is already an RPU. So now what happens is Hong Kong pay money to an RPU, which is also Hong Kong. So what do we call this? This is GDP item, not an GNP item. 即中啦，係咪？我哋睇埋之後啦 ，rental income earned from real estate in Canada owned by a Hong Kong resident， 即係咩意思啊 ？Here rental income production, right? Now Canada pay money to Hong Kong for production. Okay, so this is a positive item. OK， 好啦 ，C salary received by an Indian consultant who work for 3 months 3個月，即係咩意思啊 ？This is not RPU. So what happens is that Hong Kong pay money to India, OK, for production. This is a negative item. And finally, dividend by a US resident，即係咩意思啊 ？Hong Kong 嗱 again dividend is production, right? To US for production. This is a negative item. Okay, done that. So this one. Now, finally, this question, please revise again and again and again. Very, very, very important. Okay, 好嘛？嗱 suppose a football club in Hong Kong. 嗱，記住啦 football club in Hong Kong. So this is an RPU of Hong Kong. Hire Brazil as a coach for 2 months. 嗱，小心啦，好敏感啦要。2 months. What does that mean? It means that this Brazil guy is not RPU. OK， 得唔得？佢唔係 RPU 嚟㗎 ，not an RPU. OK， 好嘛 ？So now we have a very big dilemma here. We have a Hong Kong football club, which is an RPU. Then we also have a Brazil coach, who is not an RPU. 點解要咁寫出嚟啊？ Because anything earned by the football club should be GDP. By him should not be in GDP. OK， 嗱呢個要好小心啦。He 嗱唔係 her 咁嘅 her receive 嘅 ，he received 8 million as salary。好啦，你話阿 Sir salary production but received by the Brazil guy. So unfortunately, this 8 million is not in GDP because not an RPU. And return to Brazil. Unfortunately, the enrollment was poor and revenue from the course obviously received by Hong Kong Football Club 3 million. 好啦 Hong Kong Football Club 係 RPU 嘛 So this is GDP. Okay, 好嘛 So A1, the effect on GDP should be a contribution of 3 millions. But you need to explain, since this is the production value by RPU, resident producing unit. 3 million. Okay, 好嘛 What about A2? A2 here. 好啦，我哋要抄翻條式出嚟啦。GNP equals to GDP plus NIA. Now, GDP we know is 3 million, right? What about NIA? 我哋諗下啦。Now this guy, Brazil guy, he produced in Hong Kong. 你嚟教波一定係 production 啦。But is he an RPU? No. Right now is a Hong Kong resident paying money to a non-resident. What do we call this? This is a factor income paid to abroad. Therefore, we need to minus 8 million. And the effect is that GNP would decrease by 5 million. Okay? GNP would decrease by 5 million Hong Kong dollar. OK， 嗱係咪好正啊呢條 ？This is an extremely well set question to clear up our confusion between GDP and GNP. Okay, so boys, remember this question, revise again and again and again. OK， 好嘛？嗱 ，for the next video, we are going to jump ahead a little bit to look at the concept of GDP at market price versus GDP at factor cost. OK, see you very soon in the next video then. Bye bye.